Good evening everybody. So this isn't the video I had planned. I'd planned to do a complete guide to track days for beginners, and I went to a track day last Sunday over at Spring Mountain in Pahrump, and I recorded the tech inspection, and I recorded some of the riders briefing, and I recorded the first few sessions, and I was going to talk as I was riding around the track. But this microphone, which I'm actually testing again now, was a bit shit. That's what we say. No polite way of putting it. It was shit. You couldn't hear me as soon as I got onto the track. You just couldn't hear me. You could barely hear me when I was just riding at like 10 miles an hour towards the track. So yeah, so it kind of died on its arse. And then after that, after the first couple of sessions, I had a bike issue. Good old Ducati Reliability. I mean, I laugh about it, but actually this bike has been very good to me, so this bike is wonderful. However, the 996 has given me a couple of issues, and what I can't understand is the last track day I did in November, the bike was absolutely fine. It was wonderful, and it's sat in the garage for 4 months, not doing nothing. Well, it hasn't been anywhere, so nothing should have broken or changed. But something clearly has, because what I've done to it is, so the end of my last track day I had a fuel leak, so I fixed the fuel leak, pretty simple fix. And then I've put a lightweight aluminium frame on the front, on the nose bit, like here, and a lightweight aluminium subframe, like rear subframe, the bit I sit on, because it was a two-seater bike and it's got a heavy subframe. So I put a lightweight aluminium subframe on the back, and I bought a lightweight battery, a Shure battery, and those changes saved me just over 10 kilograms, which is quite a big saving. And although to someone of my skill and ability I probably wouldn't have noticed 10 kilograms difference on the track, I don't know, maybe I would have, I don't know. You'd have to do it side by side, but yeah, it's a big saving. And so unfortunately the rest of the day, instead of me recording videos, I was trying to fix an issue with the bike. So I'm kind of torn now, because I've spent the last few days trying to sort this bike issue, and I haven't quite fixed it. I mean, I think it's better than it was, but I can't quite replicate exactly what it was doing on the track day. So I think really I need to take it to an expert, and I need to get them to set it up properly. So that's what I think my next step is. So I've got chemo tomorrow, so I just wanted to go out this evening, Sunday evening, just for a quick ride on Daisy, just because for the next few days I'm going to be out of order. I am not going to be working the next few days. I'm going to be drugged up to my eyeballs with horrible chemicals. So yeah, I was just having a nice little ride out this evening. But yeah, so track days, I mean I'll talk about it a bit now, and then I can maybe use this footage when I try again, because there's a track day this weekend, and I was hoping to get my bike fixed and then have another go at this track day, but I can't get it fixed, or I haven't got it fixed, and because I've got chemo this week, I don't think I'm going to have the time or the energy to get it fixed before the weekend. It needs to go to an expert, so I think I need to give up on that idea. But anyway, beginners and track days. So I know of a few people That's just people I know who would love to do a track day, and they say to me, oh, you know, I'd love to do that, and, oh, I can't wait to do a track day, but they never quite take the leap of faith and do it. And I thought, well, I'll try and make a video about track days, and so they could see what it's all about, see what happens, and then that might address some of their nerves, because that's all it is. It's nerves. So if I could address some of those anxieties with footage of what goes on, you know, this is where you register, etc., then maybe they would bite the bullet and do a track day. I mean, I've done, what have I done now? I think I've done about 8 track days. Yeah, was I nervous for my first track day? Hell yeah, I was petrified. Myself and my friend Marcus Rowe drove across with a trailer and our 2 bikes across the Spring Mountain where I went last weekend, and man, we turned up and we thought, you know, we'd be alright, you know, fairly confident riders, and we turned up with this U-Haul trailer and 2 bikes on the back, and we got there and there was race teams, everyone had trucks, everyone had like tyre warmers and race prepped bikes, and we just turned up with our 2 road bikes with some masking tape over the mirrors and stuff. I thought we would blend in, and oh, it was really quite daunting. I thought, what have we got ourselves into? Like, I feel like I've turned up to a British Superbike event or something. You know, everyone had like 2 bikes and spare bikes, and some guy had his own mechanic, and it was just a different world. And but anyway, as soon as we got started, the nerves went away. As soon as you get on the track, your nerves go. And do you know what? In the beginner group, we were by no means the slowest. There was people there that you kind of thought, have you even ridden a bike on the road? Because you don't look confident on a bike, let alone on a track. So what I say to you is, if you are nervous about going on a track day, then please don't be. I mean, of course you will be nervous. Like, that was my 8th track day, and riding up to the pit lane for the first session, absolutely I was nervous. Not as nervous as my first track day, but yeah, absolutely nervous. And it's no different to, you know, I watched a documentary on Take That last night, and they'd been touring, doing concerts and stuff for 20 years, and they were still getting nervous before going on stage. And it's just part of life, isn't it? Nerves, anxiety, it's just how you deal with it, and you just got to suck it up. But yeah, so if you're nervous, that's completely natural, but please don't let those nerves stop you from doing it, because I absolutely love it. And I'm sure if you ride a bike of any description, you would also love doing a track day, because it's so rewarding. It's the only place you can really test your ability and your bike's ability in a safe environment. And you know what? If the worst happens, you have a crash, you're not going to hit a lamppost, you're not going to hit a tree, you're not going to hit a car coming the other way, you're just going to slide off. The only thing that's going to be hurt is your wallet and your pride. And you know what? After a couple of weeks, I'm sure you'll be laughing about it. But you'll be in one piece. So yes, you will be nervous, but please don't let that stop you from doing a track day, because they are brilliant. I mean, what can you expect from a track day? So there's a few things you got to think about. So have you got a bike suitable for a track day? If you've got any kind of sporty bike, you know, fairly decent performance, then yes, absolutely, you can use that on a track day. And I'll talk to you about what preparation you need to do to that bike, so you get on the track. If you are riding around on a Harley Davidson, then I suggest you do not have the correct bike for track day. And if you don't believe me, well, you can turn up to a track day on your Harley and be turned away. But I did warn you. People, you don't need a sports bike like this. You don't need a bike, fairings, and 1000cc bike. There was a guy there last weekend on a basically a dirt bike that he'd put a couple of like road tyres on, thin street tyres, and he was riding around and he was fairly quick. He wasn't that quick, but he's probably limited a bit by the performance of the bike, but he was quick enough. I'm pretty sure if he was in the advanced group, the organiser would probably have something to say about that, because the contrast in his speed and the bike speed is going to be a safety issue. You don't want him going 80 miles an hour down the straight when there's some guy doing 160 down the straight. So there's a little bit of sensible decisions to be made, but basically if you've got a fairly decent bike, you can go on a track day. You will see all sorts of bikes at track days. And you know what? If you do have a Harley Davidson, guess what? There are road bike only track days. I've not seen any here in the US, but in the UK there are road only bike track days that you can go on. You can turn up on your Harley Davidson with your headlights and your number plate, and you can go around the track and just enjoy yourself, because there'll be guys there on their adventure bikes, there'll be guys there on their 60s cafe races and all sorts of things. So even if you do have a Harley, there is a track day out there for you. So you need to do a standard track day. You need a fairly decent high performing bike. If you're not sure if your bike is good enough, just whatever company you're using, drop them an email and just say, hey, I want to do a track day and I've got a Ducati Scrambler. It's what are they, 800cc or something? Is that good enough? And just they reply and go, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Get rid of this guy. There's be a bit of a test on the microphone, see if you can hear me. Track day companies. So in the UK, I know of the one I've used is No Limits. Just Google No Limits track days and they come up. And there's another one. What's the other one? No Limits and no, I can't think of the other one. The US companies I know of. Apex Assassins, and I've not used them, but looking at their website they seem to be pretty standard. And one I use, God, my mind's gone absolutely blank. No Limits. Oh, hang on, I've got to think about this. Oh yeah, so US is Apex Assassins and Track Experience. Experience is spelled without the E, so Track Experience. And they sort of cover the west coast, sort of California, Nevada. Apex Assassins, I've seen them do a bit of California, and they're the ones that are doing one in Vegas at the Speedway this weekend. But in the UK I've used No Limits and can't think what the other one's called, but just Google UK motorbike track days and you'll find them. Because the reason I'm trying to think of the other company is because they do road bike only track days and they do evening only track days where you turn up at 5 o'clock in the evening and you get about 3 or 4 sessions. But the major differences between the US and the UK for track days is in the US they do a tech inspection. And in the UK, they tell you what you need to do to prep your bike in terms of a technical aspect, but the only thing you have to pass is a noise inspection. So the UK are really strict on noise, which is really weird because you can turn up to a track day on a road bike, which is road legal, and your bike could be too loud to go on the track day. Sound weird? So you could fail the noise test and get turned away, to then just go and ride around the street near the circuit as loud as you want and be perfectly legal. It doesn't really make any sense. But anyway, yeah, so in the UK you've got to pass the noise inspection, in the US the tech inspection. So tech inspection, what do you need for that? So bike preparation wise, like I say, you don't need a track bike like I've got. You could just have a road bike. So what you want to think about for your bike preparation is, well, the most important thing is tyres. You're going to want to turn up to your track day with brand new tyres or almost new tyres, because on a track day you're going to use a lot more rubber. On a track day than you would just riding a few hundred miles on the road. So you don't want to turn up with barely legal road tyres and think, oh, I'll just use the end of these tyres for this track day and then I'll get the new ones. You need to get the new ones before the track day. And then also you want to think about what type of tyre. So you want a sport tyre. I have done track days on sport touring tyres. Sport touring tyres are very good tyres. And the funny thing was, the track day I had the sport touring tyres on, it rained for one session and I was the only one out there, because I was the only one that trusted my tyres, because they were designed for the road and for wet conditions. So that had its benefit. But yeah, realistically you should have at least sport tyres. Don't worry about slick tyres for your first track day. I've done 8 track days, I don't have slick tyres. I'm not even considering using slick tyres. It's really not something that I think is going to be a massive benefit to me at my level. I'm not an advanced rider, I'm not a race rider, so you know, the road tyres, a decent set of sport tyres are very much up to the job for the pace that I'm going to be setting. So that's tyres. The other things you want to do, you want to either take your mirrors off or put tape over the mirrors, for 2 reasons. If you crash, they don't want glass all over the track, but the main reason is you don't want to be using your mirrors. On a track day you don't want to be thinking about what is going on behind you. You want to focus 100% of your attention on you and what's in front of you. Don't worry about where someone is behind you, or if they're going to overtake you, or how fast they're going, or how fast you're going. You don't want to see that. I've also seen some track days say tape over your speedometer. The reason being is some people will go down the straight and they'll just stare at their speedo and go, ooh, how fast I'm going, oh, this is the fastest I've ever been, and they're not looking at what's going on in front of them. So tape over your speedo. My track day bike, I've actually taken the speedo cable out now, so I don't even have to tape over it. It just doesn't work. It's not important. Your rev counter is important. You want to know where you are in the rev range, so you can pick what gears you want to be in, or maybe you want to be a lower gear in a corner, a higher gear the next time you go around. But yeah, your speed does not matter. So that's mirrors. You want to tape over your headlights and indicators and your brake lights. So tape over them so that when you're braking, you don't want everyone behind you to be focused on you braking, and when you're braking, they don't need to know. It's just something that's going to put them off. And also, if you get a tape over them, try and unplug them. Find out where the little connector is and unplug it. And the reason for that is because if you don't unplug it, the heat from the light may make the glue on the tape kind of really horrible and sticky, and a pain to, you'll end up having a headlight with horrible goo all over it. So yeah, so even if you tape over it, and you're taping over it so if you crash, again, you don't get loads of broken plastic all over the track, but try and unplug it as well so you don't get the goo. So that's that. What else is there? well, you need to tape over the weights on your wheels. So most of the time you'll have these little weights on your wheels when they balance your wheel when they fit a new tyre. You need to tape over them because there's a small risk of them flying off at speed, so you don't want those little metal magnets flying off and swatting someone in the face. So yeah, tape over them. What else? I'm looking at my bike thinking, what else have you got to do? Fuel. Make sure you arrive with a full tank of fuel, and you're probably going to want to take some extra fuel with you. Most tracks have somewhere where you can get fuel. Some tracks you have to maybe drive down the road to a petrol station, but even if you've got to drive down the road, you still need like a petrol canister, so you may as well just take some fuel with you in a canister, because you will use more than a one tank of fuel. If you do all 8 sessions, you're going to use more than a tank of fuel, because you're going to have the throttle open a lot more than you would riding around on the road, which means you're going to use more fuel. So fuel. What else can we think about? You need to do a general check of your bike. Obviously, you don't want there to be any play in your brake levers, front or rear. They need to be no kind of like loose spot on them. Make sure your brake pads are in good nick. Yeah, they don't have to be new, but make sure they're not at the end of their life. Just give your bike a good once over. You know, maybe think about fresh oil. You're going to thrash the engine for longer than it's ever been thrashed, so a nice bit of fresh oil would be a nice little treat for the bike. And then for me, so after every 2 track days I would change the oil on my bike, but that's because it's a track bike. If you've got a road bike, I'd put fresh oil in for the track day, and then just like take say 500 or 1,000 miles off your oil interval. So if you do your oil every 3,000 miles and you do 1 track day, well, change your oil after 2,500 miles. Don't wait for 3,000. If you change your oil, you know, your engine should last forever. You know, that's the only thing that's really wearing your engine if you've got dirty oil. So that's that. What else can we talk about? I just turned around now, gonna head back home. Sun has gone down. Another beautiful evening in Vegas. So that's the track day company's noise inspection, tech inspection. Oh, so the noise inspection, all they do is you pull up to a little bay, similar to what you would a tech inspection. You just ride your bike over there, and a guy will, with your engine running, a guy will put like a decibel reader behind your bike, and he'll ask you to rev to a certain amount of revs, like say 5,000 revs, and he will measure how loud your bike is at those revs, and if you pass the noise inspection, he'll give you a sticker or whatever that goes on the bike saying you passed. In the US, the tech inspection, you ride it over to wherever like the registration tech inspection is, and yeah, switch your bike off, take your helmet with you. They will give your bike a bit of a once over, you know, kick the wheels, make sure your chain isn't hanging off. They will check your brakes, check you've taped over everything, check your tyres are in good condition, and if you pass tech inspection, again they would just give you a sticker that goes on your bike to say you've passed tech inspection, and that's all good. So it is strange in the UK that they don't do a tech inspection. Yeah, I think personally, I think that's the most important thing, because some people might get lazy and not really prep their bike properly, and well, some people may push the boundaries for how much tyre they've got left. Really, you know, that's the important thing, not how bloody noisy your bike is. I mean, you're on a track day, it's going to be noisy. But anyway, that's a major difference between the US and the UK. So what have we got next? Let's talk about the general kind of schedule of a track day. So I don't know why people pull over here to like let you pass, and yeah, it's all that's very kind of them, but trust me, I don't need you to pull over to let me pass. Yeah, anyway, so schedule of a track day. So generally you'll have registration, which will open say between something like 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning. So it's an early start for you. You know, if you've got to travel there as well, and registration closes at 8:30, you know, you need to be there before that, and you need to do tech inspection stuff. So, but yeah, generally registration is like 7:30 to 8:30, and tech inspection is open normally until about 8:30 as well. So in that hour you can go and register and get your tech inspection or noise inspection done, and then somewhere around 8:30, 8:40 there'll be the riders briefing. So what normally happens, so in the UK you have one big briefing for everybody. In the US what they seem to do is the intermediate, the advanced group have a riders meeting, and then the novice group or beginner group will have their own riders meeting, and it's probably about 10-15 minutes long, maybe 20 minutes long, and they will talk through everything that you have probably got going on in your head. They will talk about how to enter and exit the track. They will talk about which side they want you to overtake people on. So I think it's the same in the UK, but in the US, the beginner group you can only overtake on the outside. I think you can overtake on the inside in the UK, which I prefer, but in the US you can only overtake on the outside in the beginner group. Intermediate and advanced can overtake on either group. And also they want you to give like a buffer, like a 6-foot buffer. It's just to keep everyone safe, and it's a beginner group, so there's going to be a vast array of people, different riding experiences and stuff. So yeah, and they'll talk about the different colour flags, the difference between a waving yellow flag and a static yellow flag, a black flag, red flags, all those sort of things. There might be flags, they might have lights. Some tracks have lights where there'll be a flashing yellow light. So they'll talk about that. They'll talk about they might have a rider's school that you can attend, so after each session you can go into a classroom and get some instruction. They'll talk about that. So they'll talk about any kind of safety things and what's going to happen throughout the day, you know, if they're going to have a lunch break and all that kind of thing. So that's a riders meeting. If you've got any questions, or they haven't addressed something in the riders meeting, then just grab the instructor after the riders meeting and just have a quick chat. They will be absolutely more than happy to answer any questions you've got. It could be anything from where the toilets, because you're going to shit yourself because you're so frightened of your first track day. Nah, you'll be fine. So yeah, so riders meeting, and then so from 9 o'clock generally the track goes hot, and then each hour is broken into 3 sessions. So there's from the hour to 20 past is session 1, and that is for the advanced group. 20 minutes past the hour to 40 minutes past the hour is the intermediate group, and then 40 minutes past every hour is the beginner group. So if you're a beginner group, you're going to be at 40 minutes past every hour, unless there's a lunch break. So for the lunch hour, say 12 till 1, there won't be a session at 12:40. And you normally get about 8 sessions a day. So you get like the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock if there's no lunch, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4. Or if they have a lunch, it'll be like 9, 10, 11, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and the track will go cold at either 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending whether they've had lunch, depending where you are in the world. You know, what time of the year it is. It might be dark by 6 o'clock. So yeah, it all depends on that. Maybe you only get 7 sessions if they have a lunch break and you're in the UK in the winter, or not the winter but autumn. But yeah, that's enough. 7 or 8 sessions is plenty. You think 8 sessions are 20 minutes, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. 2 hours and 40 minutes of riding your bike as fast as you feel comfortable. You are going to be exhausted. And what I found, especially on my last track day, I did the 8 sessions and there was only about 3 of us on track, because what you'll find is there'd be, say, 20 people in the 20-25 people in each group. By 3 or 4 o'clock, a lot of them have gone home because they've got they've done 6 sessions. That was plenty enough for them. They've got a 4-hour drive home, so they want to beat a bit of the traffic, so they leave early. So you sometimes find the 7th and 8th sessions are really quiet, and they can be the best sessions because you can just chill out and not worry about getting stuck in traffic, not worry about there being anyone behind you or how fast or slow you are, blah blah blah. But the flip side of that is you will be tired. And what I found on my last track days, I went out on the 8th session, there was only 2 or 3 of us on the track, and that's the only time of the day I made a mistake, and I didn't make a bend, and I stood the bike up and I just went into the dirt, and I didn't crash. I just went through the dirt at 5 miles an hour and just tried to stay upright. So it's the only time of the day I made a mistake, and all that was because I was tired. My concentration had taken a knock and I was tired. So yeah, just 8 sessions is a long day. You will get tired. Make sure you bring plenty of food, plenty of water, stay hydrated. What I find is between each session, have a good sort of pint of water and a snack. Take lots of snacks, granola bars, energy bars, a sandwich, some fruit, things like that, because you'll probably never get to the point where you are really hungry, but it's important that you keep your energy up. So take plenty of kind of snacky foods, sugary foods, protein foods, and don't take like Coca-Cola, just take water. Water is all you're going to need. Also in the US, you find that a lot of the tracks don't have any shelter, like garages, whereas most of the UK tracks have garages. So if you get there early enough in the UK, you'll get a nice spot in the garage, so you're out in the sun, you've got somewhere to put your stuff. In the US, they don't seem to have garages, a lot of these smaller circuits. So you need some sort of sunshade, so one of those like sun canopies, something like that, something for you to put your bike under, somewhere for you to sit out in the sun. Take with you a table and stuff. Well, actually, so I'm talking about this, but let's talk about how you get there. How are you going to get to your track day? If you've got a road bike, are you going to ride your bike to the track day? I've done that. When the track was half an hour from me, and it was fine, but I couldn't take anything with me. I couldn't take tools, I couldn't really take much food or water, anywhere to sit. So that was kind of miserable. So really, ideally, you want to put your bike on a trailer, or in the back of a van if you have to rent a van, or rent a trailer, or get a mate to go with you, or whatever you're doing. But if you can, I would suggest taking your bike there. So it's already prepped. You spent the day before prepping your bike, it's all sorted, and then go there on your trailer or in the van. Hang on, go through these cars. yeah, so and then that means you can take a load of stuff with you. You can take all your tools, take your water, take a table, take your food, yeah, take your bike stand, things like that. Yeah, so if you take a trailer around or something, at least you can take a load of stuff with you and it's more comfortable. In the US, I couldn't ride there because I wouldn't have my sun canopy over it, so I'd just cook all day. Because generally the track days I'm going to go to around Vegas are roasting hot, so yeah, that would be miserable if you didn't have a sun canopy, so I don't really have an option out here. But in the UK you could get away riding there, like I say, I've done it, but it wasn't ideal. That's the fuel light, come on. Be alright. I'll get home from here. Don't turn. If you're watching this video and listening to this, I'm assuming you are, or I'm assuming you have never done a track day. So, you know, I won't really talk much about the groups, but I'll just kind of tell you about them. So the beginner group is for people who it's their first track day, or just want to, you know, not that quick and just want to improve a little bit, or maybe they're not that confident, or maybe their bike isn't that high performance, so they feel a bit more comfortable in the beginner group. Which way should we go? Let's go this way. So, you know, if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you're going to be beginner group. Intermediate is for people who have a bit more experience. So I would tend to go into the intermediate group now. I did go in the beginner group last weekend because having had chemo the week before, I wasn't sure how fit or well I was going to feel. So by going in the beginner group, I kind of put less pressure on myself to be fast. I thought, if I don't feel that well, then I could just chill out and go a bit slower. But yeah, I would probably be in the slower half of the intermediate group. But I could, like I said, I could happily go in the beginner group and I'll just be one of the faster guys, and that's fine. You'll find in the beginner group you will get guys that are, you know, I wouldn't say, you know, not race guys, but they probably shouldn't be, and they're probably a little bit better than beginner group. But it's your judgment. So when you book a track day, it is your judgment. It's what you think you should be in. So some people will turn up and think, oh yeah, I'm an amazing rider, I've been riding 20 years on the road, you know, I've been riding 1000cc bikes my whole life, and they turn up and they sign up for the advanced group, and then they quite quickly get a bit of a shock when they're in an advanced group that's just got the British superbike guy who's testing some parts on his race bike. Before you know it, he's very much out of his depth. I've got a truck on the right hand side of me here that thinks he's gonna like not let me pass, not let me back in. I'm gonna turn right down the end here, and you know what? I'm gonna go past both of these. You can probably also see from this video that these are, I mean, this is a 24-year-old bike, and it's way too fast for the road. You think these modern 1000cc bikes, ridiculous, way too fast for the road. I could just eat up 95% of the cars on the road. This bike will just destroy it. So I mean, there's one reason for doing track days over riding on the road, because you just can't use this bike for what it's designed for on the road. It's you know, it's not safe to do that. Yeah, you can have a little bit of fun, and like you just saw there, I just got annoyed with, I didn't get annoyed, but I could see me getting cut off by a car. So without even trying, I've just gone past 3 cars and I got to the front. Yeah, it's effortless. So get on a track day and then you can use the bike for what it was intended. What was I talking about before that? I don't know. Anyway, we're nearly home now. So yeah, that was a nice little ride out. Hopefully the microphone's working in this, and I've got a start of a track day video that I can use maybe when I do eventually get on a track day. You can see how's this guy braking for? You can see that the bike is way too fast for the road, because I can just go like this. So I am getting off it. God, I love this bike so much. This bike is so amazing. Such a joy. Just an absolute joy to ride. I need to get my 916 sorted so it's as smooth as this. Such a smooth bike. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Don't know why that guy let me go.